Hey there, this is Ben with Shirk Photography. Welcome to my Team is Everything vertical template. This is an awesome template. Let me show you what it can do. Alright, let's take a look into this template. For those of you that have used my templates before, I got a few quick inside tips for you, and then I'm going to go a little bit more in depth for those of you that are newer to my templates. So for those of you that are used to my stuff, so on the Insert Close-Up Subject Here folder, this is at an opacity of 68%. It just kind of fades off the guy in the background. If you don't want that, you can obviously increase the opacity if you want. The same for the text. This text here, the tigers, that is at a fill of 0%. So there's no coloring going on. You can kind of see through to the subject behind. If you want to increase that fill, I can show color if you like. So obviously this is red, but I would just change the color to fit him if you needed to. Also on the text up here, Ryan and Osborne, the first and last name have both an outer glow or drop shadow option depending on the color of your text is inside the effects there. Alright, so then for those of you that are newer to my templates, let's get more in depth. Starting from the beginning, when you first open this template up, it may ask you if you want to resolve fonts. What that's asking, it's asking if you want to go ahead and load the fonts that I used. If you're in Adobe Photoshop, the online subscription version, then all you have to do is click yes, and they'll automatically load for you. If you're in an older version or a different program entirely, then you may have to follow the links within the tutorial and font info in the download folder. Looking at my layers palette over to here, if you don't see yours, you can navigate over to Windows and find layers. My layers palette, there's a variety of different colors labeled on these different layers. Yellow layers are easily change colors. So for example, this light flare color, I could double click on that little square and my color picker would pop up. You can see a couple different yellow layers on the way down there. There's some light blue layers. Those are kind of optional layers. So for example, the lower flog or the floor, I could shut one of those off. Or those light flares, I can move those around or shut them off. Kind of some optional things there. The red layers are things you need to change for sure. So first and last name, team name, sport, year, things like that you need to change for sure. Insert your own subjects here and here. And again, those are all labeled in red. So the easiest way to talk about these layers is actually to change them with you, to put a new subject in and modify this to fit. So first off, I want to talk about lighting. You'll notice on my subject, I have some nice highlights on his cheekbones here, on the top of his hat, and going down his body on the outsides here and here. So that is because I use some backlight. So in this scene, there are some very bright lights, these stadium lights back here, or arena lights, whatever you want to call them. And then the sun flare here is certainly going to help make them look like they fit in here if you use some bright backlighting. So for example, here's my lighting diagram. I'm showing you for currently multiple lights, but you don't have to. You can probably just get away with one really bright light back here. This is a hair light. It's going to help highlight the hair down their shoulders and stuff like that. But if you have more lights, so if you have two lights you can add to the outside edges here, that's going to highlight down his arms, down his body, and just kind of surround him in light, and again, make him really look like he fits. As far as power goes, these backlights are a little bit stronger than my main light. You can see there's more light hitting them from behind than there is in the front. So if your main light is basically the same as your backlights, just power down your main light just a little bit, and that'll allow those backlights to pop a little bit more. You can power these backlights up obviously too if you need to. And then my main light here, it can also be a variety of different light sources. It does not have to be an umbrella. It could be a beauty dish, a softbox, whatever main light you want to use. So getting back to this guy, let's prep him for inserting a subject in here. If you want to learn more about inserting your subject and see a little more in-depth information, you can go to my website and I can go to Learning Tools and How-To Videos. You can see a how to insert subjects here. I also have a how to crop team photos and how to crop individual photos. So anyway, I'm going to prep this really quick demonstration here. I'm going to shut him off, but we clicked on it. So now when I import my own subject, here's a subject. I've already extracted her. I can just drag and drop her in there and then move her to fit where I think she looks good. Maybe something like that. And then I can go to this background guy here. I'm going to click on him and shut him off so it's highlighted. And then I'm going to have a subject I've already extracted here. I can drag and drop her over there. And then I can scale her to make her bigger or smaller. Control or Command T brings up my transform tools. I'm going to pull her out and make her pretty darn large. Something like that looks pretty good. And maybe just a little bit higher, just get her chin away from the top of her head. Something like that. Now I'm going to shut those folders back up to keep this nice and neat over here. And we're going to start at the top and work our way down. So I'm going to start with the light flare color. Those are here and here. So if I shut that off, you can kind of see what it changes. In order to change that color, I'm going to double click on it. And then I'm going to go find a purple. I could obviously try to find one just by moving this around here. I can also navigate directly over top her jersey and try to pick something, but it's kind of a muted purple there. I would probably add a little bit more pop to it. So something like that looks like a pretty good color purple. If I like that color, I'm going to hit Control or Command C to copy that, and I can reuse that exact color again, like for example in the sun glow color. So I'm going to double click on that little square, hit Control or Command V so it pastes in that exact color. And then I'm also going to go at this time, probably going to change the background color. I do like those soft blues and stuff like that. Looks really good on most things. And since she is more like purple and white, I think I like almost like a black and white. And maybe just a very subtle purple. So I'm going to do that and then go down here. So something like that isn't bad at all. Really subtle. And now let's go back up and change this text here. This text is bothering me because it's red. So I'm going to go all the way up to the text folder, open this up. I have Osborne here. I'm going to double click on the T. And instead of Osborne, I'm going to type, for example, Smith. And hit enter. Now red is not the correct color. Let's change that color too. So I can either double click and that red option will pop up here, or there should be something if you're in the newer version of Photoshop like floats around, and I kind of have it anchored up to my top, but I can use that for my color picker too. And so I'm just going to paste that exact purple in there, Control or Command V, but it's a little bit dark, kind of hard to read. There's a couple of different options. I'm going to make it a little bit lighter purple. That works. Or, as I mentioned right away at the beginning, for those more advanced people, if you open up this little effects drop-down menu, you can see I have an outer glow and a drop shadow. I can shut off the drop shadow and I can turn on the outer glow. So I could, change that however I needed to. But since I went with a little bit lighter purple, that currently works. So I'm going to leave it. Let's change Ryan. Double click on the T to Megan. Hit enter. And let's center these up because the different lengths of the words, they're not quite centered now. So I'm going to click on both of them, hold shift down and click on Smith. Control or Command T brings them both up, and you can kind of see the center of that is going to go right at 12 there. Let's keep working our way down. We did Megan Smith. Let's change Tigers. Let's change the Eagles. I double click on that T, type that in. If your mascot name or if you use your school name is super long, I can hit Control or Command T, and while I'm holding shift down, I can squish it or stretch it depending on if you want it shorter or longer. So an option there. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to click on these and just slide them out here. Come right to the end of that Eagles there. Alright, baseball obviously needs changed to volleyball. Enter. And I have the year here, and then the lower text box. That lower text box shouldn't be red. So I'm going to paste that color purple in that I've copied before and hit OK. Now essentially that's all I have to do. I'm going to keep working my way through a couple more of those layers just to show you what they are though. We have the sun glow option here that I don't have to use. I guess I could shut it off if you don't want it. It adds a nice, obviously, pop of color. I'm going to make sure that's like directly behind her too. Background color already used. We did the close-up subject. Here we have a lower fog and a floor. So a couple nuances here. If I shut off the lower fog, you can see some floor. Currently her feet are disappearing into that fog there. If I want to see her feet, I'm going to go all the way up here to the Insert Subject Here folder, right click on it and say Disable Layer Mask, and then I'd be able to see that whole, her feet and the net or whatever else is with your subject. If I want to turn it back on, I can just click on it and then it comes back. So it's up to you what you like to see in there. but essentially it can be as simple and easy as that to edit. I hope you love it. I hope your subjects do too. If you like this, be sure to check out our other templates, actions, and brushes. Talk to you later.